Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's meeting of the South Planning Committee. Item 1, apologies for absence and appointment of substitute members.
Thank you, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillor Harry Barrett, and whilst I'm talking to you, I'll draw your attention to the fact that there are no committee updates, and that is because there are no updates on the application and no speakers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Item 2, declarations of interest. Councillor Eastwood.
Yes, I have a declaration of interest. I'm involved in another application adjacent to this, and I know the parties who are living next door to this property extremely well.
And that you're the originator of the calling.
And I was the originator of the calling. That's
Thank
exactly
you. Item 3, the minutes. To confirm the minutes of the meeting of the committee held on the 11th of July. Do we agree the minutes? Are we agreed? Thank you. Item 4, Chairman's announcements. Members of the public are permitted to film, broadcast and report on the meeting, subject to the efficient running of the meeting not being affected. Only those people who have registered in line with the committee's speaking procedure may address the committee. Members of the public are requested not to call out during the committee's discussions on any item. The meeting is being webcast on the Council's corporate YouTube channel. Therefore, could all of those speaking please utilise your microphones when doing so? There are no planned fire drills, so if the alarm does sound, evacuation instructions will be given by Democratic Services. Please ensure that any devices are switched off or onto silent mode. Thank you all very much. Item 5. Do we have any proposed pre-committee site visits?
No, we don't, Chairman.
No, thank you. Item 6, 3 Astral Cottages, Falkirk Road, Helmden.
This application relates to a site located within the hamlet of Aswell, which is located around 2 kilometres to the west of Helmden and around 2 kilometres to the southwest of Woppenham, as outlined in red on the site location plan on the screen. The site consists of an existing dwelling and its associated garden space and a driveway. The site lies to the northeast of Aswell Castle, a Grade 2 star listed building and scheduled ancient monument. So you can see the site outlined in red there. And then the outline of this building here is the Manor House of Aswell Castle, which, as I just mentioned, is both a scheduled ancient monument and listed building. And the wider site around it is associated with Aswell Castle. This is a photo of the front elevation of the existing dwelling on the site, which is defined by its dual pitch gable-ended roof design and its 2 front masonry style dormer windows. This is another photo of the front elevation taken from a slightly different angle, which shows Aswell Castle in the background, which you can see just poking above the existing single-storey element there. This is a photo of the south side elevation, showing the existing pitch roof single-storey addition and the flat-roofed conservatory. This is a photo of the rear elevation, showing the existing rear gable, the existing flat roof dormer, and the single-storey conservatory element. This is a photo of the northern side elevation, showing the existing gable of the dwelling. This application seeks planning permission to extend the existing dwelling to the front by 2 metres, to the rear by 1 metre, and to the northern side by 3 metres. To the southern side, the existing extension will be replaced and the roof height of the existing dwelling would be increased by 0.5 metres. This is the site plan showing the footprint of the proposed development and the neighbouring dwellings to the north. That is the footprint proposed and the neighbouring dwellings to the north. These are the proposed floor plans, which show both the existing extent of the dwelling and the extent of the proposed extensions. So in the dotted line, you can see the existing extent of the dwelling on the ground floor plan there. And then you can see in the hashed, the proposed extent of the extensions, with it extending to the front, to the side, to the rear. And again, to the side, it would replace that existing single-story conservatory. These are the proposed front and rear elevations, which highlight the increase in gable size and the removal of the flat roofed elements. So the proposed rear at the top there and the proposed front at the bottom. These are the proposed side elevations, which highlight the extent of the front and rear projections. So you can see there that the front would extend there, and then the rear would also extend. The same at the bottom. This is the aerial plan with the site outlined in red again. You see the site in the centre, and then just again Aswell Castle to the southwest. This is the committee site plan showing the constraints around the site. So it highlights the public rights of ways that cross the local area. And again, the red signifies the scheduled ancient monument, and the grey colour signifies the listed building of Aswell Castle. Planning officers have carefully considered the impacts of the proposed development, particularly in relation to design, heritage and amenity, and consider that the proposed development would comply with the requirements of the development plan. Therefore, on the basis of the assessment set out in the officer report, planning officers recommend that the application is approved.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the officers? Councillor Barter.
Just checking, if I understood what you were saying, then the existing flat roofed portion is wiped out and replaced?
Yes, so the existing flat roofed single story extension would be replaced. And then again, the flat roof dormer to the rear would also be replaced, and an extension would be built in its place.
Yes, and generally when we don't think flat roofed buildings are a very good thing, as I remember.
Yeah, we would agree.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pritchard.
Thank you, Chair. Just a point with regards to materials that are going to be used, and obviously looking at the red bricks and so on, presumably the specification for materials will actually be coming into conditions.
Yes, so the officer's report outlines that we would require by condition samples of the wall material, the roof material, and details of the windows and doors. And we would consult the council's internal heritage and conservation team on those details.
And that would be within the design requirement, presumably, the design specification that exists at the moment.
So they are proposing to change change the materials, but they would be in line with the neighbouring dwellings to the north.
Thank you.
Any further questions for officers? No, thank you very much. Councillor Eastwood, as local ward member, would you like to address the committee?
Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, this application and development was called in by the neighbours who own Aswell Castle Farm. It was bought by them 18 months ago, and at the time of purchase, none of the problems related to them were declared and were never discovered by the solicitor. They requested that I called it in due to the proximity of the 11th century tower at Aswell Castle Farm, which at present is being restored. It used to be a large manor house. It has been considerably reduced in size over the years. However, there has been no response from historic environment and/or archaeology. And so they have decided that really there's no reason for the call-in. They can't be here today because they're away on holiday. Their only condition for themselves personally, which has been addressed by our officer, is that the building bricks are as prescribed, the red bricks prescribed and agreed to by the council, and also the tiles as designated by the same council. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Councillor Eastwood. No, I don't think so. Thank you. If you'd retire to the gallery, please. No. Councillor Bambridge, as a local ward member.
I've really got nothing to say. It all seems to.
Okay, does anyone have anything to say? Councillor Randall.
Yeah, I just wondered what the call-in was for, really, because conditions, you know, within the conditions, there usually is about brick faces and tiles. So was it an objection, or was it just to make sure that the bricks and the tiles were as existing?
Well, I quote from the report, called in by Councillor Eastwood due to the heritage assets located in the surrounding area. Do officers wish to add anything to that?
If I can perhaps help, it is a very sensitive site, and there have been some other applications in the locality that have been quite contentious. So there is a bit of sort of wider context, but that said, this particular proposal is exactly as you have seen this evening. So in officer's opinion, it is an entirely acceptable proposal, and there are some benefits in terms of exactly as highlighted through the earlier discussion in terms of removing flat roofs and in answer to perhaps the most contentious issue, the conditions address the issue of materials.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Bagot-Webb.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, what we just heard is it was called in due to what perhaps might be in the land of architectural interest. But the foundations for the building were put in many years ago. That land would have been disturbed around that area, not just where the footings are, but wider afield. And all we're talking about doing is moving the walls out a few feet from the existing ones. So I can't quite see what the call-in was for.
Mr. Roger.
Yeah, if I can perhaps tidy up one loose end. So our conservation heritage team have viewed the proposals and don't have any objections. The archaeologist hasn't responded to the consultation, but we don't have any concern with that because in our view, the scale of the proposals would not be proportional with any form of further archaeological investigation or work. And we genuinely think it's simply a case that had the archaeology officer been interested in the proposal, that they would have responded. And the archaeology officer has actually given us extensive correspondence on a separate site that perhaps has greater archaeological significance in that immediate area. So there was another proposal which definitely had archaeological comments, and the archaeology officer did promptly respond to. But I'm completely satisfied that the fact that we don't have an archaeological comment is not an issue, because it just simply wouldn't be proportionate given the scale of proposals to be.
I think, Mr. Ross, thank you very much. I think all you've done is just repeated very professionally what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Councillor Sharps.
Thank you. In light of all what we've heard today, Councillor Eastwood has spoken, effectively said that it had been withdrawn because it was no longer needed. Says here that the Assistant Director of Planning and Development will be given dedicated powers for the permissions subject to conditions. Then I therefore propose that we accept this and go to the vote.
Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Pritchard.
Yes, I second councillors' proposals.
Would you like to summarise?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Just for completeness, that Councillor Sharps, you are proposing that the committee accepts all officer recommendations in respect of this application, including the conditions set out in the report, and that's seconded by Councillor Pritchard.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak before we take the vote? Councillor Barter.
I said I wouldn't be home till 8.
We'll see how we go then, shall we? Councillor Bambridge.
Just a comment, I think the resulting building will actually look better than the existing one, but it's.
Yes, I tend to agree. Any other views before I take the vote? All those in favour, please show. Those against? None, unanimous. Thank you very much. And as I have no urgent business, I close the meeting at 17 minutes past 6. Thank you all very much for coming and have a safe journey home. Good night.